Hello everyone and welcome to yet another wonderful episode of Voice It Youth Talk Show. Today we are under the theme End Time Awareness, and we have a wonderful topic, quite an interesting topic today, which is Let Them Down Slowly. I am your host Brandon Chinembri, and this is my co-host Sandy.
Hi everyone, my name is Sandile Spanda, and we are not alone. We are here with our lovely guests, a beautiful lady and a wonderful gentleman. I'll ask them to introduce themselves.
Hi everyone, my name is Nobukosi Spanda and I'm glad to be here today.
Hi everyone, my name is Brandon Sibelo and well, it's lovely being with you today.
Thank you very much.
So under Let Them Down Slowly, our main objective is to identify how to share the end time truth with our friends without scaring them, right? Because the end time truth can be scary, let's be honest. When you tell people about the end of the world, right? It's quite difficult.
Yeah.
So how do we then share it without scaring them? But I think the first question should be, what is the end time truth?
So, this is a collection of biblical messages that God has entrusted to His remnant church in the last day. They encompass our Seventh-day Adventist beliefs. So, the Sabbath as the seal of God, the second coming, the state of the dead. So, they're simply truths that call for people to worship God as the true creator. I think, to me, that's what the end time truth is.
Well, the thing is, Brandon, there's a whole lot of different things that people have come up with when we're talking about the end time truth. But when we're talking in line with the Bible, there's certain things that have been listed within the Bible to say, okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we're talking about. Like she has said, the remnant of God, the coming of Christ. There's a whole lot surrounding that thing. So we're literally talking about the end of the world, if like some other people say. The end of the world as we know it. But now what we need to understand, people think it's the whole destruction of the world now. It's basically the end of the world as we know it.
So why is the end time truth scary? What makes it scary? Because if you want to scare people, it means that the message that you're preaching is scary.
Yeah.
But what do you think makes it scary?
Well, I think it's the case of not being prepared for it.
I love
Number
that.
one, yeah. And again, nowadays there's AI, there's everything, Then you hear in Revelations going the dragon, then people add visuals to that thing and you start going, ooh. You start
Coming out of the sea with
exactly, you visualize
heads.
because as people, we're very creative people. We visualize all these things and we think death and destruction. But we don't see the good part in it. That's what drives people to going like, oh, this is scary.
So, you said people don't see the good part.
Yeah.
So, how can we make them see the good part?
Well,
Like, what is the good part?
So, first part, why do we need to know these truths? Why were we given these truths? To give us identity and clarity and purpose in this very chaotic and confusing world. So that's the first part. Second part, they are to prepare us for judgment. Right? Now, the judgment is the final step before the glorious moment we've all been waiting for, which is when we all then get to go to heaven. So,
How can we then explain the judgment in a way that doesn't make people afraid, but actually makes people look forward to that event?
okay, so think of judgment as a screening process. To take away the fear, you need to change the way you view judgment. So think of judgment as a screening process. Say you are a student, you want to become a doctor. You are going to write some big exam, which will determine whether or not you then become a doctor. They cannot take everyone in the class and say, it's okay, you're all worthy of becoming doctors. Go and start practicing. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, I'm not going to go to that hospital.
Think of judgment as a screening process, which is then used to see those who really love and honor God.
Quite interestingly though, tests have always been difficult.
Yeah, it's difficult.
The test, like, it's such a,
Yeah.
even if, okay, I'll give an example. I don't know if it's appropriate or what. I'll give an example. But like, someone said to me, even if you've never taken drugs before,
Yeah.
but when you hear that there's a random drug test, you just get like anxiety. Like,
Yeah.
you've never taken drugs before. You've never touched a lick of alcohol. You've never done anything. But when you just hear a random drug test, you're like, whoa. Like,
Yeah, trying to think, have I taken them by
You see,
mistake?
the thing is,
hear that.
yeah.
did I pass by some guy smoking?
I hear that, but you need to remember that you have Christ on your side. The same Jesus who warns about judgment is the same one who promises to be with us through it. So, you know, it is going to be a little scary, but always remember that you have Christ there with you.
It's like you talked about tests and you know, the whole examination process. It's scary stuff, yes. But now, just like you said, I love the example because for all these things you can prepare. Just like the judgment, you can what? You can prepare. The end times. That's why we've got all these pointers and headers in the Bible. Because the Bible does say, mostly in Bible prophecy, it does say this is yet to happen. Coming to the end times, there's things that lead to the end times. And there's only one thing we can do. You can prepare. If you've been given a heads up, like esindebeleni bathi indlela ibuzwa kwabanjani or inyathi ibuzwa kwabaphambili, it's because you can prepare for these things so that you can prepare, you know, okay, this is what's coming. So something tends to be less scary. It's like when you're ready for pain, you can prepare and try and brace for it. Just like, it's not like when you don't know something's going to happen, it hurts more. You know?
Definitely does.
Yeah.
But then in that same vein, why are people afraid? You did mention that they're unprepared, but let's delve deeper into that. You know, let's expagorate on that. Why are people afraid of the end time? Like,
you see, the end time mostly, it's like you said, judgment. I love the word judgment. When the Bible speaks of judgment, it's saying, like the Bible mostly says, it's going to separate the weeds from the what? From the gray, from the chaff from the grain, those kinds of which we know there's a certain way we're supposed to live as people. But because we're not living in that way, you know, people are afraid of consequences. We do things that we know there's going to be consequences for, but we don't do what is right. But
what we're meant to be doing.
Then when consequences come and we hear there's going to be judgment or there's going to be, you know, repercussions for what we've done, we go, we get afraid. That's basically non-preparation and not doing justice or what's right by some other things. Yeah, that's why people are afraid.
I also want to get into a case shoes and also answer that question. I think another reason why people are afraid is because they have a wrong picture of what is going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, people are thinking, like she said, dragons and beasts and everything.
Yeah.
But it's simply Christ coming to take his own. And I have a question.
Sorry, before we move on, to add on to what Brandon has already said, you talked about people not being prepared.
Yeah.
Which means we then need to sit and introspect and look at your life and ask yourself, what patterns am I repeating on a daily basis that will lead to me not being saved? So you then need to correct those things. And then secondly, I think another reason why people tend to be afraid sometimes is because of lack of proper understanding of the gospel or salvation through Christ. Once you fully know and understand that you are saved through Christ, that takes away the fear. So think of Jesus as your advocate and friend, not only as your judge. And that fear is then replaced with peace, even in the midst of uncertainty.
Yeah.
Okay. So my question was, how can we make it something to look forward to? How can we make it something to look forward to?
Well, first of all, she said understanding. Understanding is key. Because with when you open the book of Revelations, open the book of Daniel, there's a lot of prophets. Some people usually call it the Advent jargon or reader's jargon. There's things that you need to understand, and you know the good part about the Bible, it's not something that you need to go far to interpret or something. There's things that are there that align with history. You know, you just follow it. So understanding is key, all right? Because understanding leads you to know what am I supposed to do in preparation for the end of time?
Actually, 2 points came out from Sandy and Kosi, where Sandy said, it's just Jesus coming to take us home. Then Kosi says, you also have to think about Jesus as your advocate. So when it comes to that, it's either he is witnessing for you or against you, depending on the relationship that you had with him. A story is told about a young man who was who got a job offer by a farmer to help a farmer at a farm. And then the farmer asks him, why should I hire you? Then the young man says, I can sleep through a storm.
Yeah.
Farmer doesn't understand what that means, but he just hires him because he's the only one that's there. So then a storm comes this one time, and then he just quickly rushes to the young man, finds him sleeping. He says, like, why are you sleeping so peacefully? Then he says, because I fed the animals, I closed everything up, like everything is spick and span. So he was so used to doing everything perfectly every day, says that even when a storm came, he was just relaxed.
Yeah.
So I think the other thing that makes us nervous is because we're not prepared for the storm. We know there's things that we're meant to be doing that we're actually not doing.
But now the thing is, we've already been given the guide to say the know-how on how to prepare. You see, it's like you're speaking of a farmer. You'll find that there was something written. You're supposed to do this, and that. And we tend to go like, okay, I don't want to do that. I want to do things my own way. Then you're not prepared when the storm comes. And then you're starting to run around when the storm comes, here in this case, the end times. And then you're like, oh, what am I supposed to do now? You see, we think we've got time, but time is not on our side.
Does our relations and our actions towards people, or even the way we deliver the message, determine how they look at the judgment? What do you think, Kosi?
Firstly, this end time truth that you have, that you are trying to share with people, remember that you're not supposed to try and force it on to people. That's the first thing. And then, yes, the way you say out this message is very important to me. The same way we mentioned, growing up, we were told that this and this and this, we were scared, So it's very easy to then make other people feel the very same way. So we need to be very careful about how I don't know, maybe Brandon, you can help on how we can lay it out gently.
First of all, let me say, be sympathetic. Because not everyone has your understanding, and not everyone has been through your own journey of understanding. You get what I'm saying? Let's try and level with people and level with their emotion, right? Because the moment you understand somebody's emotion when it comes to a certain topic, you can try and meander. You get a little bit of room to move around and try and dodge some other things, And the other thing is, we've got like people, how do I put it? People come from different backgrounds, right? And the end time truth has touched almost everyone. These people believe in the apocalypse. That is a kind of end time truth for them, right? These people believe in the rapture. These people believe in a whole lot of things, my friend. But now you bring what the Bible says, the Bible truth, to people, right? Because the fear is already there. It's not that you're going to be bringing the fear. The fear is already there because the topic itself is a very sensitive topic. So what you're trying to do is to try and balance it and say, okay, I know you've heard this, and that, but now this is what the Bible says, right? And bring out the good that the Bible says. I think, that's basically what we can do.
Thank you so much for watching this first segment of Let Them Down Slowly. Quite interestingly, the Bible truths about the end times actually give hope, but it's all these other interpretations that usually bring confusion and fear. Catch us in our second segment where we delve deeper into this apocalyptic or eschatological prophecies and end times and how we could actually draw out comfort from all of this as compared to just running around like headless chickens and being afraid of the second coming of Christ.
Welcome back, everybody, to our second segment of Let Them Down Slowly. And we are realizing or delving into how we can share the end time message without scaring our friends. So I'll hand it over to Brendan.
Okay, so when we're speaking about sharing our, like, the end time message to our friends, what groups of people do we have who hear this message? Because it's not everyone who accepts in the same way. It's not everyone who's the same. So what are the main groups of people that we have?
Okay, so the first group is a set of people who have been suffering. Life on this earth has been no walk in the park. They are tired.
Let's not make sure.
They've had it up to here with living here. So this message is a message of hope to them, to say one day, which I pray is so close, Christ will put an end to all of the suffering, to all of the pain, the death, the sorrow. We will finally be happy. That's the first group of people. The second group is a set of people who are living thinking that the way they're living is okay. So when they sit and look back at their lives, they think, it's all right. I do this, I do that, I pray every now and again, it's all right. But these people actually need to be corrected and redirected and shown that you aren't exactly living like Christ did, you know. So I think those are the two groups. Are there any more?
Well, there's other people, the people who have lost friends and family. Because there's other people who think, well, this person's gone and gone for life, gone for good. There's some people who think their relatives have gone up to heaven and everything. But now there's things the Bible does clarify on, one, the state of the dead. We do have a topic like that on the state of the dead. We also have a topic on what happens, like when Jesus comes back, what's going to happen to the dead. These people who are quite fascinated because they have lost loved ones. That is another group, I believe, yeah.
So with these groups, these different groups, you've got these ones that have been suffering. So is it up to us to increase their suffering so they look forward more to the coming of Christ?
No.
What do we say?
Well, what we're saying is there's a way, there's something better to look up to look forward to, let me say. Not this suffering, it's only temporary. It's not something permanent. There's nothing that's permanent in this world. You get what I'm saying? So when Jesus Christ comes back, we know there's something good to look up to. And now what we need to do with these people is to now say what is the good that's waiting up for you. Like
so say someone has heard that the people who are good are the ones that are going to go to heaven, and they've been living a sinful life.
Yeah.
How can they get hope that they can also attain, that eternal life?
Well, like we said, first of all, there's an issue of preparation, an issue of understanding and knowing, because the Bible does give us, let me say, the ways to live our lives, the do's and the don'ts of preparing for the end of times, preparing for the second coming of Jesus Christ. Let me put it that way. Because the moment when we keep on saying the end of times, that's again, it tends to be
scary.
Yeah, to be scary, because that's what people have been hearing. But now we need to let people know, no, it's definitely not the end of times. Just, let me say, the end of suffering and pain.
The end of one phase.
Of one phase.
Beginning of another.
Exactly. You get what I'm saying? So what we need to do is let people know, no, we're coming onto a better chapter, a better phase of, this whole thing.
Let's speak about those who are living. It's not that everyone who's living comfortably is living wrong, by the way, right? You do have people who have means, who don't have as many problems, but they're also living righteously. But let's speak about those who are not living righteously. I've got a friend of mine, we used to work together. He used to call himself a character builder.
Okay.
When he was very annoying, or he was a job and a half, but he would say, that's how I am, I'm a character builder. Are we meant to be character builders to other people? How do we approach these people who have been living the wrong way? I mean, do we attack them, bring judgments upon them? How are we meant to make them receive this message?
definitely don't attack them. That's not the way to go about it. If I came to you and I was trying to impart some knowledge on you and I forced it onto you, would you accept what I was saying? You definitely wouldn't. So attack is definitely not the way. But lay it down gently, find a way. Don't judge judgment, judging them for the way they're living. Don't judge, for you are yet to be judged. So judging them isn't the way. Just, find a way to kind of...
Sometimes even the truth itself can be judgment. Nowadays, even when you're just saying the plain truth, that someone is doing something wrong, they feel judged. They can't be direct anymore.
People take the truth as judgment if they know they're in the wrong.
Okay. But again, there's something interesting that I've been thinking about within this whole conversation is we stated all these groups, right? But we forgot one group. According to 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 17, about the judgment happening within God's own house. So there's people within the church or people within, our whole Christian community who are actually afraid. They know the truth and they're afraid of the judgment. Sometimes these people let me put it this way, these people who know the truth and they're afraid of the truth because they're not living in the right. We've been schooled in, the whole, Jesus Christ is coming, there's going to be judgment, there's going to be this, people are going to be going into heaven. They know even the good within the truth, but then people again are afraid of that truth because they know they're not living in the right.
Is it also possible that people are scared of the coming of Christ because of how it was taught to them? For example, if you're a little kid and you were told, there's going to be hellfire and everything.
And brimstone.
You're 5 years old, you're being told.
Yes, that's
when
why
Jesus comes, there's going to be brimstone and the fire.
Yeah. That's why in the first segment I said, as people, we're a very visual bunch and a creative, artistic bunch. So as a child, when you're told about that, you've gotten burned before. You start imagining yourself getting burned, and you're like, oh my word, this is going to happen in real life.
On that note, right, I also wanted to bring in, how can we then make it in such a way that the littlest of children can understand it. Also, the adults can also hear and understand the entire message without scaring either.
Yeah, like we said, bring out the goodness in it.
Focus on the positive. Yeah. Focus on the world that's to come, the heaven that is promised.
Resurrection of the dead. Yeah, those kinds of things.
Let's not also run the risk of displaying the end time as a romantic experience.
Yeah.
There are those who are gonna be burnt.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
You understand?
Which will simply be the consequences of their actions.
Yeah.
So,
like we said, prepare. Yeah.
Okay. So Revelation 14 talks about the end time message, I think. So, what does it mean to us today? How can we, apply it in our daily lives?
Okay. In actual, I think we're speaking of Revelation
14, 12.
Verse 6 to 12. Yeah, I think let's read it out. Some people might not know about it.
So, Revelation 14, verse 6 to 12. Then I saw another angel flying directly overhead with an eternal gospel to proclaim to those who dwell on earth, to every nation and tribe and language and people. And he said with a loud voice, "Fear God and give him glory, because the hour of his judgment has come. And worship him who made heaven and earth, the sea and the springs of water." Another angel, a second, followed, saying, "Fallen, fallen is Babylon the Great, she who made all nations drink the wine of the passion of her sexual immorality." And another angel, a third, followed them, saying with a loud voice, "If anyone worships the beast and its image and receives a mark on his forehead or on his hand, he also will drink the wine of God's wrath, poured full strength into the cup of his anger, and he will be tormented with fire and sulfur in the presence of the holy angels, in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment goes up forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night, these worshippers of the beast and its image, and whoever receives the mark of its name." Here is a call for the endurance of the saints, those who keep the commandments of God and their faith in Jesus.
That is verse 12. Right. So the thing is, this whole verse, the beginning of it, verse 6, when it's starting, it's basically talking about, it's saying this word needs to be told to the whole world. It doesn't how do I say, it doesn't choose. It's going out to everybody. That is the first point, that everybody needs to hear about this. Then again, it talks about people worshiping the beast and people worshiping God. We only have one God. Now the biggest problem is worshiping the beast. How do we worship this beast? Through ways. You get what I'm saying? Through the things we do sometimes, right? There's things that we do, right, that do not glorify God. That is also worshiping the what? The beast. That's why Kosi at first she was like, these people who think whatever they're doing is okay, right? And because those people know, they think what they were doing is okay, they don't know that they're not worshiping God through their actions, right?
So what we're basically saying is there is a reward and there is a consequence.
Sure.
But the way to let people down slowly is to let them know of the reward, because people always hear about the hellfire, but they never hear about the beauties of heaven, the mansions that Jesus has made for us. That side of it is usually not told.
Yeah, people usually love to hear punishment. People grasp punishment and put it into mind before actually hearing about rewards.
So in other words, we're not letting them down. Because letting them down will then make it seem like we are disappointing them.
When you say let them down slowly, when you're letting something down, it's like when you're letting someone down on a rope. You're not going to let the rope go while they're here because they're going to crash into the floor. But if you let the rope down slowly, even the impact between the person or whatever it is and the floor is not heavy. So that's what we mean when we say let them down slowly, letting them down, but don't let them hit the ground because that's going to hurt.
So we are bringing the knowledge of Christ and the end times to them. Gently, slowly to them. So what I'm getting from this conversation is that it is important for us to share the message as it is what God has given us, like the commission that He has given us in the Bible. It's important for us to share the message. But in sharing the message, we shouldn't scare the people. We shouldn't bring it as something that is there to destroy us. But it's a message of hope, a message of peace to everyone. So thank you very much to our guests for being with us. And thank you to our viewers. Please catch us on the next episode of Voice It.